Gear up, everyone, because we're diving deep into the world of espionage with special ops. Lioness.
Oh, yeah. This show is packed with action and drama.
It really pulls you in. And today we'll break down Season 1, exploring the Lioness program.
A top-secret CIA initiative. So the CIA trains female operatives.
To infiltrate the lives of high-value targets. It's a risky strategy.
But highly effective. These operatives befriend the wives and daughters
Of suspected terrorists, think undercover agents living double lives.
building relationships all while gathering intel. It's a delicate balance.
Absolutely. And at the heart of the story is Cruz Manuelis.
A Marine with a troubled past. She's recruited into this program.
Cruz is tough, resourceful, determined to prove herself.
But the path to becoming a lioness, it's not easy.
No, it's paved with danger and tough moral choices.
We see Cruz transform from a hardened Marine into an undercover operative.
Grappling with the weight of her actions and the blurred lines between duty and personal connections.
It raises questions about the psychological toll of this kind of work.
And leading this program is Jo.
A seasoned CIA officer, dedicated to her job.
But her personal life suffers because of it.
Yeah. She's constantly torn between her responsibilities and her desire for a normal life.
Her character adds another layer of complexity to the show.
Absolutely. So in this world of secrets and deception, Cruz's first mission unfolds.
She's tasked with getting close to Aliyah Amrohi.
The daughter of a suspected terrorist financier, Asmar Amrohi.
And Cruz has to infiltrate Aliyah's world, which means...
Lavish parties, trips to the Hamptons, a whirlwind of wealth and privilege.
Talk about a tough assignment.
Right. She has to maintain her cover while gathering intel on Aliyah's father.
It's a dangerous game. And as Cruz gets closer to Aliyah,
A genuine bond starts to form.
complicating her mission even further.
Definitely, making her question her role and her loyalties.
So while Cruz navigates this web of relationships, the pressure mounts,
Joe's superiors are demanding results, and the stakes just keep getting higher.
leading to a high-stakes operation in Majorca, Spain during Aliyah's wedding.
Oh man, talk about tension. The setting is a stunning villa overlooking the Mediterranean.
Heavily guarded, filled with influential guests. It's a powder keg.
And the CIA confirms that Asmar Amrohi is present.
They greenlight the assassination. Cruz is now at a pressure cooker. She's surrounded by security trying to maintain her cover.
But also battling her feelings for Aliyah. It's a moral dilemma.
And then in a twist, Aliyah reveals that her father's about to arrive.
Unintentionally, of course, changing the entire game.
It's a pivotal moment, forcing Cruz to make an impossible choice.
Does she follow orders and eliminate the target?
Or does she protect the woman she's grown to care for?
It's a heartbreaking situation.
The confrontation that follows is intense. Cruz takes down Asmar Amrohi.
But blows her cover in the process.
Chaos ensues. And Joe's team has to execute a daring rescue to get Cruz out.
Talk about a close call. So the mission is deemed a success.
But at what cost?
The assassination triggers international backlash. And Cruz...
It's like grappling with the weight of her actions.
Imagine the psychological toll. Taking a life, especially when you formed a connection with someone close to the target.
It's devastating. Cruz confesses to Joe, "You made me a monster."
Expressing her guilt and self-loathing.
And Joe, despite her tough exterior,
She's shaken, too. It's clear that this mission has impacted them both deeply. It really highlights the human cost of this line of work.
absolutely. So Season 1 ends with these lingering questions and a sense of unease.
We're left wondering what will become of Cruz and Joe,
And what new threats will emerge.
setting the stage for a captivating second season.
Before we dive deeper into the characters, let's go back to those pivotal events in Majorca.
Yeah, where the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife.
The wedding itself was meticulously planned, the perfect cover for a covert operation.
Aliyah looked stunning, oblivious to the danger lurking beneath the surface.
That contrast between the joyous celebration and the impending mission.
It created such a sense of anticipation. You knew something was going to happen.
And the way the show uses subtle details to foreshadow the danger.
Like when Cruz spots a suspicious tattoo on one of the security guards.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat, trying to decipher the clues along with Cruz.
And Joe's anxiety as she monitors the operation from afar.
You could feel her concern for Cruz. It was more than just a mission for her.
It was personal. She was invested in Cruz's success, but also terrified for her safety.
Then that moment when Joe gets confirmation that Asmar Amrohi has arrived.
The tension skyrockets. She immediately relays the order to Cruz, knowing time is running out.
You could see the conflict in Cruz's eyes as she processes the information.
The weight of the mission, the danger, the potential betrayal.
The way the camera focuses on her face as she navigates the crowded reception.
It's brilliant filmmaking.
Special ops. Lioness is more than just action and thrills.
It's a deep dive into the emotional journeys of these characters
as they navigate the treacherous world of espionage.
The Mallorca operation is a turning point,
pushing Cruz and Joe to their limits.
It's a reminder that victory in this world often comes at a price.
And sometimes that price is higher than anyone could have imagined.
Now, before we move on to the aftermath and the characters' personal journeys,
let's take a moment to appreciate the show's incredible visuals.
The cinematography is stunning. From the beaches of Mallorca to the CIA headquarters.
Each scene is visually captivating, drawing you into the world of the story.
And the soundtrack? It perfectly complements the mood and tone,
adding another layer of depth to the experience.
It's obvious the creators paid attention to every detail,
crafting a truly immersive world for the audience.
Now, with those stunning visuals in mind,
let's shift our focus to the aftermath of the Mallorca operation.
And see how the characters cope with the fallout, both personally and professionally. Shift our focus now to the characters and how they deal with the aftermath of the Mallorca operation, especially Cruz. She's really struggling.
Yeah, you see the weight of her actions bearing down on her. All that guilt and trauma.
She even says to Joe, "You made me a monster." It's a powerful scene.
It really shows the psychological impact of taking a life, even when it's your duty.
It makes you think about the ethics of it all. The potential for lasting scars.
And it's not just about taking a life. It's the betrayal, too.
Right. She built a real connection with Aaliyah, only to have it shattered.
That kind of emotional fallout has to be incredibly difficult to deal with.
It makes you wonder, can you really compartmentalize your emotions in this line of work?
Can you be friends with someone when you know you might have to hurt them?
It's a tough question. Cruz's struggles really highlight the human cost of espionage.
That conflict between duty and personal feelings. And while Cruz is wrestling with her guilt, Joe seems to have built up a wall.
It's like she's detached in a way.
She's been in the business so long, she's seen it all.
She's tough. Rarely shows any vulnerability.
But even Joe has her breaking point. We see cracks in her armor when she interacts with her husband.
Their marriage is really strange. She always puts work first.
And there's that scene when she breaks down after Mallorca. It's powerful.
She admits to her husband, "I promised you I'd come home. I meant it."
It shows the immense pressure she's under, all the sacrifices she makes.
You realize even the toughest operatives are human. They have feelings too.
The mission might be a success on paper, but the personal toll can be devastating.
It reminds us that espionage isn't some glamorous game.
It's a world filled with impossible choices, moral compromises, and often deep personal sacrifice.
Then there's Caitlin Meade, Joe's supervisor. She's operating on a whole other level.
Right. She's dealing with the politics of the Lioness program, all the scrutiny and pushback.
Caitlin's a fascinating character, so shrewd and calculating.
Willing to do whatever it takes to keep the program running.
And her relationship with her husband, that adds another layer of intrigue.
It suggests that her job affects her personal life too, just like Joe.
She embodies the bureaucratic side of espionage, all the power plays behind the scenes.
Her arguments with the Secretary of State, they highlight the ethical and political debates around covert operations.
The secretary clearly wasn't happy with the assassination. He said it wasn't the outcome he wanted.
It shows that even within the government, there are disagreements about how to handle these situations.
Adding another layer of complexity to the story.
It emphasizes the idea that actions have consequences, intended or not.
And sometimes those consequences are far-reaching and unpredictable.
The writers have done a great job weaving these different storylines together.
Creating this multifaceted narrative that explores espionage from all angles.
It's not just about the action. It's about the human stories, the moral dilemmas, and the sacrifices.
Now, we've been talking about the immediate fallout, but let's not forget the wider implications.
Remember, Asmar Amrohi's death is a major event on the world stage.
It creates international backlash. Countries question the U.S.'s involvement.
It destabilizes the whole region, potentially leading to even more conflict.
The show doesn't shy away from exploring those consequences.
Reminding us that these actions have real-world impact.
Affecting not only the people involved, but also the global political landscape.
It's a thought-provoking element of the show, making viewers consider the ethics and politics of these operations.
And speaking of thought-provoking, let's not forget about that Season 1 ending.
It leaves us with so many unanswered questions, setting the stage for an intense Season 2.
Cruz is clearly traumatized. Will she be able to walk away from the Lioness program?
And Joe? Despite promising her husband she'd step back, can she really leave the CIA?
Then there's Caitlin Meade. What's her next move? Will she be able to control the program?
So many possibilities. With Season 2 already airing, we're eager to see what happens.
It's a show that keeps you guessing, always challenging your perspective.
And making you think about the complexities of the world we live in.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive and share our final thoughts,
Let's acknowledge the amazing performances from the cast. The cast really brings these characters to life.
they do Zoe Saldana as Jo. She's incredible.
You really feel the weight of her experience, the burdens she carries.
Yeah, it balances that strength and vulnerability perfectly.
And Leslie de Oliveira as Cruz.
Oh, she's phenomenal.
Her performance is so raw, so emotionally charged.
You really feel her pain, her confusion, her struggle with what she's done.
Her transformation throughout the season is amazing.
It is. From determined Marine to disillusioned operative at the cup chattel.
And we can't forget Nicole Kidman as Caitlin Meade.
She's fantastic.
She brings this quiet intensity to the role.
You can sense the power she has, the control.
With limited screen time, she commands your attention.
It makes you wonder about her backstory. What's she hiding?
Definitely. So much to explore there, with those amazing performances in mind. Let's look ahead to Season 2. What are you most excited to see?
I'm really curious about the aftermath of Asmar Amrohi's assassination, the global reaction.
Right, the Secretary of State wasn't happy about it.
Exactly. It suggests there might be some conflict within the government.
Will the Lioness program survive, or will it become a political scapegoat?
Good question. And what about Cruz? What happens to her?
Can she ever escape this world, or will she be drawn back in?
Maybe she'll try to adjust to civilian life, but her experiences will haunt her.
And Jo? She promised her husband she'd leave the CIA, but can she really do it?
Duty might call her back. And Caitlin Meade, I'm fascinated to see what she does next.
How will she handle the political fallout? Will she be able to protect the program?
So many possibilities. It's exciting.
Season 2 is already out there, and we can't wait to see how it all plays out.
The writers have laid such a strong foundation, compelling characters, thought-provoking premise.
I'm sure they'll continue to explore the emotional and psychological toll of espionage.
And maybe expand the story onto a larger global stage.
If you haven't seen Special Ops, Lioness yet, check it out on Paramount+.
It's a must-watch for sure.
It's a gripping show that delves into the complexities of war espionage and the sacrifices made by those on the front lines.
As you watch, think about this. In a world of ever-evolving threats, what lines are we willing to cross in the name of security?
And what are the true costs of those choices?
It's a question that stays with you long after the episode ends.
It does. So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter